Welcome to the call. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the call. I'm Ray Madorn. My wife Barb and I are master coordinators in very, very sunny Arizona. I just want to throw that out for what it was worth. For those of you that are new or joining us for the first time, or maybe your guests, this is our monthly OPA call. These calls are hosted by the master coordinator organizations that begin with Mary and Gary Loomis, and they've continued and just grown under their son Rob. So OPA stands for Organic Products Associates. That's the name the Loomises gave their organization because they knew even in the early days that people would not remember a lot of the masters and the people who really started the organization. So Mary came up with Organic Products Associates as the name of the organization. So they wanted to create a family legacy around that, and so that's what they did. We're very proud of this organization. We have so many great people in the OPA organization. Um, just a little bit about the OPA organization. We've got 10 master coordinators, in which two are presidential masters, approximately 300 business leaders, and 60,000 plus a little more than 60,000 members that are in the organization. And I guess until the acquisitions that just took place in the last year or so, we represented about 5% of all of Shaklee North America. So a good sized organization that made a real impact for Shaklee. So, by the way, these calls are being recorded and they're archived on a website called OPA Stuff, STUFF.org. So if you want to re-listen to it or you missed the call and some of your people missed the call, you can always go to OPA stuff.org and you can listen to the call again yourself or for any of your people that may have missed it. Okay, I'm going to turn the call over to Barb now, and she is going to introduce our very, very special guest tonight. Barb?
Thanks. Tonight we have Roland Osterhaus here. Roland is a lifetime master coordinator who's also a presidential master, has been in the business for a lot of years, has a very wide and deep organization, and loves to have fun when he works with people. I'm not going to tell you his story. He'll weave that in where he feels it's appropriate. But one of the things that he emphasizes is having fun when we're building, because, a lot of people have jobs where, they make good money, but they don't really enjoy being there. They don't enjoy the people. And we have the option of choosing those kinds of people and choosing the things that happen in our organization. And Roland is really good at that. And he's good at talking about what is really the core of what makes your organization successful. So Roland, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Just that quick. Wow. Thank you,
Just
Barb.
that quick.
You told me you'd be on for a half hour. Well, speaking of time, I don't know how much time I have, but Ray gave me 10 pages of notes. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get through those, but I'll do my best. Thanks a lot, Ray. You could have limited it to one. Well, it's good to be with all of you. It's great to be with Shaklee people. I don't know how special you see yourself. Think about it. When it comes to money, when it comes to travel, when it comes to going to entertainment, what really comes down to is your health. You can have all these things you're looking for, but when we don't have our health, boy, it becomes really important. And the reason you are also special is because of all the people that you have helped over the years that perhaps was something that is so important to them, they would never have gotten anyplace else. And there are other important things like school teachers are very important and so on, but health is a biggie. And sometimes we take it for granted, the products that we have, the value of the products, and what we've been able to do for other people. And so you are very special. I think every day getting up in the morning and saying, I'm special, seeing ourselves as special, because many times we think we are causing an inconvenience when we're talking to people. And yes, we can if we just try to give them all the information that they're not really looking for and so on. But it's a matter of seeing ourselves as having a lot of value. I've been using the Shackley products for a number of years. I heard about Shackley products a number of years ago when I was going to school in California. I'm originally from Michigan. And I was working in a service station. Maybe some of you recall this, some of you don't. But those were the days when you gave service. You put gas in the car, you checked under the hood, cleaned the windshield, give them service. Jack Consiglio came in, never saw the guy before. He asked me, "Would you want to feel better?" I said, "Yeah." Because about every 45 days, I'd get an incredible sore throat, tonsillitis, sometimes bronchitis with it. I'm talking about pain for about a week. I could hardly swallow. Painful, painful, painful. Other than that, I felt pretty good, had good energy and so on, but it was painful. So when he said, "Do you want to feel better?" that came to my mind right away. Yeah, I do want to feel better. He said, "Here's the name and address, somebody's house you can go to and check out about these products that in 30 days you can feel better." Sounds good to me. Went to Madeline Tradier's house, Madeline and Roger, in Simi Valley, California. Simi Valley is about 20 miles from San Fernando Valley. So it's just another valley after the valley. And I went there and I purchased Protein, Vitamin, and Herblax. And because she said you can feel better in some way in 30 days. I'll think about that. That's really important. It's something I still ask questions today. So many times we want to give them all the information. Let me tell you about the landmark study. Let me tell you about this. And I didn't talk to anybody about it. Used the products. Wife used the products. Felt a little bit better. Our son at 10 months of age took him in for a checkup, and the doctor said he's anemic. Better cut back on the milk. I think that's probably causing the problem, but here's a prescription. I contacted Madeline Trottier and I said, "Can we give this stuff to our child?" She said, "It's just good food." So we crushed up the multivitamin, gave the protein, took the child back to the doctor's office in 2 weeks, and he shook his head and he said, "I have never seen that prescription work that fast on a child, getting their iron up there." And we didn't have the nerve to tell him we never bought this prescription. That's something. So we knew it couldn't be all psychological. And but I was not going to do the business. I mean, I'm an introvert, still an introvert, but very much an introvert. Didn't even want to talk to my dog. I mean, it was bad. Plus, I had some experiences in school where the superintendent told me I'd never amount to anything. Like, well, you're a bump on the log. You'll never be able to go to college. You'll never be able to hold a job. In the future, you should think about making the military your career. Ah, lacking in confidence, an introvert. And then to hear that, where do you think my thinking was? It was on the floor. That school system went to the ninth grade, and then I went to another school system. And I knew I had to change myself. I'm not supposed to be able to work for anybody and keep a job. I'll never go to school. I'll bump on the log. But boy, I had to change myself. So when I think and talk to other people about making changes in their head, I understand it very well. You know what I did in the 10th grade? I took a speech class. I was terrified, but I knew I had to change how I thought about myself. And so gradually I improved, but I got a job after high school working in a plant in Muskegon, Michigan. I didn't know what the plant made, what they did. And I got a job there because I had a cousin who was an executive there, and I got a job, and I felt that's the only way I got the job. Had a really exciting job opportunity of the things that I did. I worked in this enclosed area, and I sprayed water on these big pieces of metal. And after I cleaned them off, I moved them through and got some more. Prior to that, they were dipped in a green solution, pieces of metal. Didn't know what they were. After they dried a little bit, wash them off. Then some other people got these pieces of metal and they look at them under a blue light. Finally, I found out what they were. They were blades for jet engines.
Mm.
And they were put into this green solution and washing off most of the residue. But if there was any tiny little crack, then they scrapped it. And then I had to go to X-ray. They even X-ray these machines. Can you imagine how important that was that I think back on that now? Huh. What would happen if one of those blades break in an engine at 10,000 feet? So that's what I did. Somebody working there from California said, why don't you go to California and go to school? And I about passed out. I can't go to school. I can't go to college. He said, what do you have to lose? I don't know anybody in California. That's all right. You can stay with my mother for a while. Never met his mother. He didn't know what I was thinking. It was no brainer. I lived on a farm. I never went anyplace. I'm going to go to California. But I did. And I look back and I can't figure out how I did, how I got my head straight enough to do it, but I did. Met his mother, stayed with her for a while, and got a job in construction. And I took one class at a junior college, just one, because I can study and study and study because I'm not supposed to go to college. And I passed it. I thought, wow, I can do this. And so I took more units the following semester and so on, and then went on to a California State College, University. So it was a process of changing my thinking, and I got a number of people using Shackley, and I'm not in the business. But I did want to help people. So when they complained about their health, they just said, you want to feel better? And some people would say, well, I don't think there's anything that can be done. I said, maybe not, but you want to feel better. I said, well, I eat plenty of good food. I said, well, that's great, but you want to feel better. You see, the benefit of being an introvert, you don't want to talk much. So I just ask questions. And I just kept asking questions. Most of the people said, well, okay, what do I do? I said, you just take 3 products. 30 days, if you don't feel better, you get your money back. I started getting customers, and I said, I'm not in the business. That was where my thinking was. I'm not in. I can't sell. So as I'm using Shackley products, getting people using Shackley products, my sister and brother-in-law were in Amway. And they convinced me to get into the Amway business. Can you believe that? I never sold a thing. Didn't like sales. And I taught school 1 year, 5th grade. Did some coaching. All the while trying to move my thinking up, build up my confidence. and getting more and more people using Shackley. And so what happened, more and more people started using Shackley, and I then was working at an insurance company. My brother got me into an insurance company, sales again. And I would talk to people about insurance, and I'd ask them if they'd like a little assurance because many people couldn't qualify for insurance. So what do we do? Said three things. Try for 30 days. I started feeling better. So I had a number of people, customers using the Shackley products. And the manager of the insurance company that I was working for called me aside one day and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We have people calling the insurance office asking for some shaky stuff." Oh, that's strange. Yep. Well, I said, it could be Shackley, not shaky. But he said, you have a choice. You can either do insurance or do Shackley, but not both. I chose Shackley. I'm making about $100 a month. Ha! That doesn't pay for many bills. So I really had to advance my thinking again. Here, I don't want to sell anything. I'm an introvert. And I'm saying, yes, I'm going to do Shackley because I knew I could, I'd worked hard and lived on a farm. I can dig ditches or whatever, or something else. But we were renting, old car, no collateral. I created a picture in my mind of what could happen. Getting more customers. That's as far as my thinking would go. At that time, you had to service everybody because Shackley Company didn't service anybody. So as a director, you had to service everybody, have to have the products. So I pictured in my mind that I had to go into the bank and borrow $3,000 for products. I pictured seeing in the bank the owner, Jay Detmer. I dressed up in a suit because I worked on the picture. And I pictured he being there when I was there. And wouldn't you know, when I walked in, he was coming towards me. We kind of met in the center of the bank and he said, "Hi, Roland." I said, "Hi, Jay. And what do you need?" I said, "I need some money." He said, "Well, go over there and talk to Tom." I said, "Okay, thanks, Jay." So I went over there and talked to Tom and I said, "Tom, we chit-chat a little bit." I said, "I need some money for my business. I'm making $100 a month." I said, "If I don't have the money, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose tons." That's what I said. I got $3,000 with no collateral. Do you remember the story of Dr. Shackley going in to get a loan? And the banker said, "Where's your collateral?" And he said, "It's up here." Same thing. Do you realize that when you look at inflation over the years, the 3,000 is equivalent to over 20,000 today? What do you think would happen if a person wants to be an ambassador and do the business? They had to put in $20,000. What do you think would happen with their thinking? Would they get serious? Would they start painting a picture? Here's what I'm getting at, folks. We've got incredible, incredible, incredible opportunity in Shackley. These products are so good and the market is so huge. We have more sick people in the United States percentage-wise than ever before. Children are getting diseases that their grandparents used to get. This is more than a business, I feel. It's a humanitarian thing that we can talk to people that perhaps they will never be able to talk to get the results that they can with us. This is why you're so special. really special. And so the market is huge. But I look at over the years what has happened. We had various tools, various things that we have used. There were cassette tapes, there were videos, things like this that we used over the years to talk to people. Then we got into Facebook. And then we got into get everybody excited and get them getting other people excited, and those people get people excited. That happened about 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, there were 30,000 people from Beachbody here in Nashville, Tennessee. I was at the airport when they were leaving. I asked them, how many people and what was going on. They told me 30,000. Well, the pandemic came along. We were isolated. And we heard some things that maybe we found out didn't make much sense that we were told before. And so there has been a big distrust of everything and everybody. If I'm going to look for a plumber, I contact my neighbor who's had a lot of remodeling and say, where can I get a good plumber that I can trust? Where can I take my car to someone I can trust? We're looking for people we can trust. That's what we're looking for. I don't care how good the merchandise is. I don't care what it does. Can I trust you? That is the first thing that's of importance. Getting the trust. And so not blaming Shackley, but what we hear is get a lot of people in and get them excited, and they'll get other people excited. That's dated, folks. That is really dated. As we have moved through the decades, we have become high tech, but the high touch has been lost. And Shackley is known for high touch. Well, we really help people with their diet. We help them through a lot of things. We don't have the high touch like we did, and people want high touch more than ever before in Shackley's history that I know of. So I'm not saying using the media is bad and so on, but people want that high touch. And so, therefore, most of the people in Shackley today are talking about activity that they can do to improve their business. And it's not activity first. Activity is secondary. I don't want to talk about activity. But it's very easy, it's very comfortable, and of course, we all want to stay in our comfort zone. I have spent 1 year with a guy who was doing $1,000 volume of business, said he wanted to grow in Shackley. He would record phone calls so I could help him with his communication skills. 1 year later, his volume of business was 1,000 a month. Nothing ever changed because he didn't change up here. Here's the thing, many of you have heard this. You can't surpass your thinking. I can't surpass my thinking. If you have somebody who says, gonna die sometime, it's not gonna work anyway. You can tell them about all the stories and everything else. It doesn't do any good. We have to change the thinking first. But what we've got into the habit, because we don't have skin in the game of $20,000, we always resort, many people do, to activity first, or things that I can tell them or give them the science, give them all the information, and it basically doesn't do much. We have to go through so many people. Does the guy need Shackley? Yes. He goes to the doctor's office. The doctor said, hey, whoa, you don't get on some good supplements, you're going to be dead in 3 weeks. He calls you up 1 o'clock in the morning. Can I get some of those supplements? What changed? His thinking. His thinking. So we are in the business more than ever before, number one, working on our own thinking and helping people with their thinking. And the longer we are in the comfort zone, the harder it is to get out. To do Shackley with the market that we have, doing the business is the easiest. The hardest is changing our thinking. Don't you have some relatives that you've tried to talk to and they don't change their thinking? Or some friends and they're in poor health and no, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to work. It's their thinking. And I try to give them more information on the science. It doesn't work. So, of course, I don't do that. So I must ask them questions, helping them to decide if they want to change their thinking. And I must change my thinking because I cannot surpass the thinking. Jim Burke had some great cassette tapes years ago, and it's called Break the Barrier. He said, I was looking for 10 directors. And he said, I had 8, 9, I had 8, 9, I had an 8, 9. I could not pass the 10. I could not get to 10. So I focused on 20 and then I went right past 10. I sat at 17, 18, 19, 17, 18, 19. Do you know of people who do 2,000 volume of business and they just can't get past it? And they do activities? It's not the activity we do, it's the thinking. Because the thinking is the spark plug to doing the activities better, communicating better, talking better, listening better. Everything happens when you change your thinking. I had somebody I talked to a few years ago, a senior executive, a few directors in the group, and I said, okay, she's making about 54,000 a year. I said, I asked 3 questions. There's always 3 questions. What do you want to do? And many times people say, well, you know, as she did, I want to be a master coordinator. She has 3 first levels. Okay. We discussed it for a while. What would that look like? What would you do? That's the second question. How would you do that? Well, I have to get more people. Everybody talks about the activity. Then the third question is, do you want my help? Now, it takes about 45 minutes to get through all those 3 questions, at least a half hour. He said, yeah, I knew from the answer right there what the answer was. I said, here's what must be done to help you. We must talk every other day so I can help you change your thinking. Then talk about activity, change your thinking. Okay, with a sigh. A week later, after not getting a call from her, I called her up and I said, I don't know if missed your phone call or not, but just checking. She says, oh, I know, I've been so busy. Okay, no problem. Here's the point. I love her where she is, but we can spend so much time chasing people, trying to give them things of activity to do, and they're not ready to change their thinking. That was over 10 years ago. How much do you think that business has grown in 10 years? 0. 0. Have somebody else in my group says, I don't know what to do. I'd like to be a master coordinator. She's a senior director. And I'm not saying this is bad or anything else. I didn't make these rules. It just happens to be the way it works. So what can I do? I said, what do you want to do? Well, you don't want to be a master coordinator. Okay, great. How are you going to do that? Well, I got to do this and this and this. People always list the activity. Okay. Would you like me to give you my input based on what I see? Yeah. You work with me and it can be done. Well, I'm talking to people. I know you are. But it's just like taking the 3 products. Do you want better health? Well, you will. Okay. But do you want to feel better? You work with me, we can make it happen. That was 30 years ago. The business is still the same. Well, that's fine. But I figure out who to work with based on where their thinking is and if they want my help. Have somebody else in the group who has been struggling at 2,000 volume for a while, quite a while, and has talked about, yeah, I know I got to do this, and I need to do this, and I need to do this, and need to do this. But when I felt she was at the right frame of mind, I said, what do you really want to do? Well, I'd like to, first of all, get my volume up to 3,000. Okay. How are you going to do that? Well, I need to do this. People say that is a bad word. I need to do this, and I need to do that, and I need to work on this. Okay, okay. Do you want my input on this? Yeah. If you want to work with me, I can help you to grow in Shackley way beyond the 3,000. How do you feel about becoming a senior coordinator? Yeah. I said, you don't have to believe it totally, but you've got to believe me. Okay. I said, here's what's required. Every other day, we talk on the phone. And it doesn't have to be long. It can only be 3 minutes, 4 minutes every day to help you to change your thinking. Now, this has only been about 2.5 weeks. When she talks to me on the phone, it's one of electricity. Her voice has changed. She's a different person. Don't you want to work with people who have that energy? You feel the energy? That's really good. Oh, yeah, I can't wait for her to call me. And when people have that energy, they attract business. And she'll say, guess what? This person came in. How should I handle this? How should I handle this? And then the other day, and of course, she said to me, she keeps repeating where she's going. And she said to me, she said, I'm going to do 3,000 this month. I said, good for you. Good for you. She called me 2 days ago and she said, so what, how you doing? What can I do for you? I had never heard that before. It blew me away. I said, you are hilarious. Well, I thought it was my turn to ask you. The level of energy and the thinking is way up there. And I'm not doing any meetings. I may set up a Zoom. She's in Florida, an in-home Zoom, and talking some with the people and still doing some three-way calls. And the business is moving ahead. She was so petrified every month worrying about getting her 2,000 volume. Now she doesn't even talk about it because she's focusing on 3, well past the barrier. And when she starts getting close to 3, we're going to talk about 4. And then we're going to start looking for people who want to be involved in the business. Whole different attitude. Here's the thing, folks. We only need a handful of people who really, really want to be coached. And that's the best way I can coach. You know, I've talked with people once a week and stuff like this, but they've got so much changing in their thinking they have to do. It's at least every other day. And you can call me every day if you want. We don't have to be on the phone very long. The other day I talked to her and I keep helping her to advance her thinking. I said, do you do affirmations? She said, no. I said, how about if you come up with one affirmation? Something like, I am a fantastic leader and I love talking to people and they like talking to me. That's all you do. Drive down the highway, go into your job, repeat that affirmation and repeat it in different tones, emphasize different words. What a difference it made. Then when I talked to her again the other day, few days ago, I said, okay, can we talk about being the 1%er? What's that? I said, you are so unique. You're going to do things that you haven't done before and what most people are not doing. Can you stand out alone and be that 1%? I said, to be a 1%er, you got to get it in your minds first. So picture yourself at a Shackley event and people are hearing that you're moving up in rank and they're going to be saying, wow, good for you. What are you going to say? How do you accept a compliment? Many people, if you say, well, your hair really looks nice, well, I don't know. They have a hard time accepting a compliment. You must learn how to accept compliments from people because of what you're doing, because you're a one percenter. You go to a Shackley event, a global, and you're sitting around a table with a number of Shackley people, and they say, wow, you're really doing good. Can we rub shoulders with you? What is your response? You're not going to crawl in your shell and say, well, thank you. Sure, let's rub shoulders. Because you're accepting yourself, first of all, as being very successful. So when last 2 times I talked to her, I said, okay, am I talking to the one percenter? Just reminding her of the importance of the picture. And can you picture this? Shackley's going to be calling you and saying, will you speak on a Monday morning? And you're picturing your answer. And you're saying, thank you for asking, but first of all, I've got to check it out. Can you talk to me? You must picture the end result with success, and the success keeps growing, and you keep picturing, because you cannot surpass the picture. It is so gratifying. Here's the thing that if you're interested in doing this, any of you can do this. You're special people. You don't have to be a master coordinator. You can be brand new in Shackley and you understand the philosophy and you understand the value of the products. You understand all this. You're ready to help people. You want to help people. That's what Shackley is about. But I have learned a lot of people don't want to do it. They don't want to change, and that's fine. But I got to know. So I only have a handful of people that I'm working with that we talk every other day. Just a handful. Because you realize to be a master coordinator, you will probably have 2 strong legs in your group that will have most of the directors. So many times people think, well, I've got to get all these first levels moving on up to keep it. No. You're only looking for 2. Only looking for 2. And those 2 will motivate many of these people that are not going to say yes to me now, but maybe they're going to say yes later. So just a few people that I talk to, but boy, is it exhilarating for me because they're at such a high level. And all we do is talk every other day. So one of the things I do, I help them to figure out how to get the trust in 30 seconds. 30 seconds to get the trust. Once you get the trust, you could talk in a foreign language and still be successful. Because people are looking for people they trust, not all the facts and all the figures and everything else. If I can trust you, I'm going to go with it. Like I talked to somebody the other day and I said, can I tell you what I would do in this situation? Said, yes. Had to do with products. Said, this is what I would do. He said, well, I trust you. You got to get the trust. I do a lot of 3-way calls on people with their health. And takes about 45 minutes, but I get the trust in 30 seconds. And after 30 seconds, we talk about anything, everything. We talk about the kids and everything else. And I ask a lot of questions. And then finally I get to a various point and say, would you like me to tell you what I would do if I had headaches like you did? I get permission for everything. I'm not selling. I say, yes, this is what I would do. Maybe even with diet, what I would do. Pretty simple. And then at the end, I say, whatever you want to do is fine. You want to continue doing what you're doing? I'm not trying to sell you, Margaret. Please understand. I'm glad I could talk with you and share the information that I have. And I'm not trying to sell you. But whatever you want to do, I mean, well, I think I'm going to get on exactly what you said. And well, good for you. It's their decision. And that's the other thing. When people don't trust, it can't be your decision. It's got to be their decision. Simple stuff. If people understand this, about surpassing your thinking. You can't do that. Getting the trust. You can have any size business you want because today's market is overly ripe with people wanting to work with people that they can trust. A number of companies, because of high tech, are not doing well in network marketing, and other companies as well, because they've lost high touch. I have a Ace Hardware about 5 miles away and a Lowe's that's 3 miles away. I go to Ace Hardware first because when I walk in the door, they say, "How can we help you?" and take me right to what I'm looking for. I go to Lowe's, I got to spend at least 15 minutes trying to find somebody who can find somebody for the department. Many companies have gone to high tech, and as customers, we don't like it. I don't like it when I try to call someplace and I have to go through a menu of about 7 different things, and then I can't recall which was probably the best one to go to. Was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, and then I have to start all over again. And then now this is all automated. You find it difficult sometimes when you want to find out about a piece of merchandise or whatever, or get technical support. That's it. Oh, you can't find the phone number. I have to call the sales number to get the technical support number because they want to immediately direct you to the internet and figure it out yourself. I want service. That's what people want. We all do. I want high touch. I go into Publix. I don't know if you have Publix in your area or not, but supermarket, I go in there and say to somebody working there, "I'm looking for this and this." Some people take me right to it. I trust them. I trust them. And I say, I'm going to talk to your boss, make sure you get a raise. This is so good. I want to encourage them to be good at giving high touch. Do you have any questions? Unmute yourself if you do.
I just have a comment. This is Lisa.
Yes, Lisa. Good. Thank
Thank
you.
you for saying that about high touch. I mean, that's what I love doing, and I feel like I'm should do more techie stuff, and I don't really want to do that. I want to keep hold of my people and talk to them and help them and ask them questions. So, thank you for backing me up on how I feel about that.
Very good. Very good. Great. Thank you for that. Alan,
Hi, Roland. Terrific points. Excellent.
thank
Right
you.
on. And I remember years ago when internet first started taking hold, social media, I used to say it's still going to be a people business. Press in the flesh. Nothing beats it.
Yep. And so I'm not putting Shackley down, but what we hear from Shackley, and this is all they're aware of, is get people excited, get them in, and it's dated. And I've told the home offices, it's dated. But we should understand this, and therefore I'm going to listen to what I know works because I'm in the field. And so don't be misguided by things that maybe somebody's doing with high tech. Maybe they're really, really good at it, but most people are not. It takes a lot of time. And it's not as solid as this high touch. Other questions or comments? Barb,
Roland, how do you get the trust in 30 seconds? Can you give us an example?
I would like to say, first of all, thank you for that, Barb. I've been talking about this for a couple of years, and you're the second person who's ever asked me. That's true. Only one other person has asked me. Nobody asked. And I say, this is the most important thing, getting the trust 30 seconds. Nobody asked. I don't know why. I don't know why. Picture talking to somebody, maybe they're third level, you've never talked to them before, maybe you're on a 3-way call. And this is where we can record ourselves, role playing, hear ourselves, because I've got to talk to them as a friend. a tendency is to say, "Hi, I'm Roland Osterhaus with Shackley, and how you doing?" And I just wanted to give you an update on some of the new products that we have and what's going on, and any way I can help. That's generally the conversation. But we wouldn't talk that way to a friend. So I must hear the voice tone. That's why I've got to listen to ourselves and talking to a friend. So I'm calling up John, or let's say, for instance, I have a three-way call and the director's, it's her sister. It's on health. I'll talk about something related to health. And so her name is Jane. And so she introduces me to Jane. Jane, this is Roland. I've told you about Roland. And so I just, Roland, I don't know what to say. I'll have you take it from here. Okay, very good. Thank you, thank you. So Jane, so good you're on the line. In other words, we talk differently to a friend. He says, well, thank you, thank you. Jane, I got a question for you. She says, what's that? And her friend is Lisa. Her sister is Lisa. And I says, is Lisa your best sister? We laugh. When we laugh together, we bond. Like in some cultures, if we eat together, we really bond. We must laugh. They're on the defensive. They see me as a salesperson. So I'm taking them way off what they thought. They thought they were going to hear a sales pitch from a salesperson, and I'm talking to them as a friend. And within 30 seconds, we find something to laugh about. And she says, oh, yeah, I've got three sisters, but well, we won't say anything. I do like my other sisters too. I say, good for you, good for you. And then I start asking questions like, so where do you live exactly? Well, I live in Portland, Oregon. Okay, very good. You get much rain there? The next thing is you don't talk Shackley. So we talk about other things. Because my thinking is out here, I'm looking for things and listening for things that probably Lisa is not listening for. Lisa is hoping her sister will get on the products and feel better. I'm already finding a market under Jane just by talking to her. So does your family live out there in that area? Yes, yes. My parents and have two brothers and a sister who live in Portland. Wow. Do you guys get together much? Well, on weekends, we always go over to my parents' house, and my brothers and sisters, we go over there with our kids, and wow, that's got to be some real festival circus. Oh, yeah, we're laughing, having a great time. I hear of a family that's together. And then when we get into eventually, after asking a lot of questions, I find a market. They haven't even tried the product yet. See, that's what the thinking comes into place. The director is only thinking of getting this person as a customer. I'm thinking, how can this customer become a director and move on up in Shackley? So I ask questions differently. Lisa would only ask questions about, if she were talking to her sister, about things that would help her with her health and trying to probably tell her of things rather than asking questions. I'm finding out about a home market because when we do that, we're going to have people feeling good, bringing in a lot of people, and it's going to work a lot faster than social media. Because she tells me that her brother has the same problem, and so does my sister. And she tells me that her parents are not in the best of health. And before I'm off that call, they think of other people who should hear about Shackley. And I'm good at it because I changed my thinking. I advanced my thinking. So, number one, I got to talk as a friend. Number two, we got to laugh in 30 seconds. And number three, we don't talk Shackley. And after perhaps maybe it's 10, 15 minutes. And we're talking and they just open up and tell me everything. When people trust, they tell you everything. In fact, many times the person who set up the call said, I walk with them every day. She's my best friend. She never told me that. Well, she told you. I didn't know that. So they open up, they start talking. Then I get to a point saying, well, your sister said you may have some questions for me. What can I do to help you? Keep in mind, I've learned everything from your sister. We have fun. And her sister laughs and everybody laughs together. And so then I ask a lot of questions, find out what she's doing, what the diet is like and everything else. And after asking questions for at least 15 minutes to get to a point of saying, okay, anything else you want to tell me? What would you like to ask me? Because I'm not sales at all. I don't say, well, let me tell you what I would do. No, I'm going to exhaust them with questions and answers. And then do you have any more questions? What would you like from me? Well, is there anything that would help with my headaches? That is a great question. Through the process, I have complimented them probably 30 times. See, people are so busy in trying to explain everything and give the information and show the landmark study and everything else. We don't compliment. Basically, two things. You ask questions and compliments. We do it with kids all the time. You want to make people feel good, compliment them. And so she said, well, I've tried everything. Well, good for you. What have you tried? Well, I've been drinking extra milk. Okay. All right. Well, that's good you're trying. What else have you done? Well, I'm drinking more water. Man, that is fantastic. Good for you. It's at least 30 compliments before I ever get to the point of saying, would you like me to tell you what I would do if I had headaches like you? Yes. And most of them never ask what the price is. And I don't get them started with a bunch of stuff. It's the basics, the protein, Vital E, probiotic, and maybe one other product. That's how most of us got started. We didn't get started with a $200 order. This is the other thing. We got to be careful with the bundles. People put out a lot of money. They're going to say, whoa, I got 10 kids. So we step at a time. I got to get into their thinking, but I have to improve my thinking. That answer the question, Barb?
It does. Thank you. Did that bring up any other questions for anybody else?
I had a comment I'd like to make,
Sure, Dean.
especially talking about the high tech, high touch. I was on a training thing today for some AI stuff, which of course is the high tech. And what impressed me the most about this training was the whole time they were saying that high tech or AI is for your left brain, for the stuff that is very cerebral, repetitive things that you can do in your business or personal life or whatever. And the high touch is for your right brain. The stuff, the artistic side, the when you're talking to people, the interaction with people. So they made a very, very strong distinction that if you try to use high tech or AI or whatever to like take over everything in your life, you're going to be having some psychological problems down the road because you're cutting yourself off from people in general. So, but that really made an impression on me that the high tech is for your left brain, the high touch is for the right brain.
That is very valuable, Dean. Thank you for that. Boy, that makes a lot of sense. You know, that's why we may see some people say they're half-brained. You know, they don't have it all together. Only half their brain is working. Any other questions? I don't want to keep you up too long. Getting late on the East Coast. Okay. Thank you for being on.
Alrighty,
Yeah.
thanks so much.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate your being here. And if anyone would like to follow up with Roland down the line, you can talk to us or be in touch with him. He has a Tuesday night call at, what time is it Eastern? Our time changes.
8 o'clock Eastern.
8 o'clock Eastern for an hour. And he's on
Right.
Zoom every week too and leads our call. And
A lot of coaching.
yes, you're welcome to that. Anyone is welcome to that too. So come and join us if you'd like or if you're curious. And we'd love to have you. And in the meantime, Sherapins will be doing the call next month.
Yay!
Yay!
They got the heart of Shackley. They've got
They
they've got
do.
they've got the touch. They do. Very important.
Thanks so much for being with us, everybody.
Yes. Have a good evening.